Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the Be the CEO of Your Life live show. I'm Yvonne of Amaze Yourself Coaching. And in this show, I share with you invaluable experiences, practices, and tips on how to grow your business with ease from my international coaching. And I sometimes have amazing guests that share their valuable experience as well. And this is all to help you make your business grow with more ease. So you actually can work smart, earn more, and live better. And today I'm going to talk to you about something that all my clients and a lot of people in my community struggle with. And it's a question that's always recurring. And that is basically, how do you build your dream team? How can you make it work? And with that comes already the first question that I get asked so often. Do you really need a team to grow your business? What do you think? If you're watching, let me know in the comments. But what do you think? Do I really need a team to grow my business? And the answer is simple. Yes, you do. You need a team. But the question is, when do you need a team? And how do you go about it? And we're going to talk about that way more today. And, you know, it is imperative to understand that you need a team. But to get to that team, the timing needs to be right. Because all too often, I see entrepreneurs, coaches, business owners, consultant, agency owners hiring someone simply because they don't like to do that certain activity, which is a great reason to hire someone. But what they tend to forget is, if I hire someone, I need to make more money to pay that person, right? Because otherwise it's coming out of my pay. And because I need to make more money to pay that person, I need to focus more on money making activities, and I need to let go of more non money making activities. But all too often, I see coaches, business owners, agency owners, consultants that are really, up here, too overwhelmed with all the work that they have, which is again a very valid reason to start outsourcing and to hire someone. But they forget to switch. They forget to say, hey, I'm overwhelmed. I'm hiring someone to help me. And with that, I need to make sure more money is coming in so I can actually pay that person. The only reason why this should be different is when you are hiring a salesperson that is going to make money for you. But otherwise, you need to make sure that you can actually afford hiring someone. All right. Now, what would be the reason to get someone to work with you? Okay, there could be multiple reasons, and I already listed quite a few, but just to give you the overview, it simply can be that you have too much work and you cannot handle all the clients, right? So you know that you need help either in servicing the clients, or most likely and more importantly, taking away tasks that cost you time but aren't directly related to client facing activities. In other words, to activities that involve the client, that someone else could do, maybe even better, quicker, and more streamlined than you. So some of the initial tasks a lot of coaches, consultants, and agency owners think about is administration, bookkeeping, accounting, especially if it's not your expertise. I would highly recommend, if you haven't done this, to please, for the love of your business, hire someone now, because that can save you a lot of money. So administration is one of the things that's quickly outsourced, as well as marketing is quickly outsourced, because it takes a lot of time to get your content right. And you can leave that to an expert if the clients are already there. But other things are like website, technical aspects, client service. It is really asking yourself, what is it that I do well? What is it that I want to do? What is it that I love to do? And how can I make sure that I can focus on that while everything else can be done by someone else, most likely with less cost involved, because it is their passion. It's what they do best. And that's perfect to outsource. Now, when should you start doing this? When should you start hiring a team? Okay. A lot of coaches that I know, and a lot of business owners and agency owners and consultants, they are waiting until they are literally spread so thin that they need to hire someone, because otherwise they're gonna burn themselves out. They're gonna flood in all the activities they need to do, and basically they have waited too long to hire someone. We overestimate our own energy. We overestimate how quick and how well we do things. We need to focus on what is it that I do extremely well, and everything else is in principle outsourceable. Could be done either by automation or by hiring someone to do it for you. Now, when do you hire too soon? When you don't have a steady flow of income throughout, and you feel that that person is actually a burden instead of a relief. I'm not talking about a burden because you need to train that person or you need to tell them how to do it. No, I'm talking about a burden like a mental pressure, because all of a sudden you should pay 2 salaries instead of 1. All right. You need to hire someone when your money is consistent, when you know you can afford to pay them, and when you know you get to focus on the money making activities so that more money comes in so you can actually pay them. Okay, let me know if there's any unclarity, because this is quite important, and unfortunately it does go wrong. So I had a conversation with one of my clients the other day, and I really loved it because it showed me, how they were thinking. It was with one of the coaches that I coach, and they told me, a team for me is only the people that I employ. So only the people that are on my payroll I see as a proper team. And I would love to hear if you see that as well. Because for me, that's nonsense. I have a team of people, and the majority of them are contractors, yet they are still my team. We work together effortlessly. They really go for it. They really help me. They help me with the technical stuff. They help me with the marketing. They help me with connecting with some of my clients. They are amazing. Yet they are all contractors and not employees. The next urban myth in my eyes is when my client told me, oh, I can see that. I can see that you feel that contractors are a team as well. I can get behind that. But I do not think that a contractor is going to give me the same effort and heart as an employee would do that. And again, I agree to disagree. How many people that have a steady job do you know? And I would say walk into a store and you already know some that only have a job and only do that work because they get paid. There's no passion, there's no drive, there is no heart. It's just collecting a paycheck from paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. There is no commitment. And maybe you're thinking, well, listen, but my business isn't that, I'm not that big. I'm not like one supermarket or whatever, I'm not a chain. I'm just, if they work with me, they can tell that this is a real business and that we're really going for it. And I will tell you, don't make that mistake. One of my clients made that mistake. They were expanding their business and they're like, well, I really need an employee. It looked all good on paper. It was really nice. And then it wasn't, because that person was just there to collect their pay slip, nothing else. They didn't have heart. They actually thought it was easier to not give, it wasn't even 80%. I think it was even 50%, of their effort. And they still wanted to get paid. They got overpaid because the accountant made a mistake. They didn't correct it. Halfway, they went on holiday without saying it. And they were very nonchalant about it. It's like, oh, well. So my client had to fire that person. And after that, she didn't want to again hire an employee. Hire an employee when you know your business is settled at a certain point and you know that that person is there to build with you from now on, and that position is going to be a stable position. And then when you hire someone, you need to make sure that you incentivize them enough so that they really want to work with you. I'm not going to go into it today, but things like, how do they get skin in the game to feel that they need to work like you do and feel the passion and the drive like you do, almost as if they're working towards their own company, because you want them to be committed to do the extra step, to feel like you're feeling. And you can do that, but you have to set it up. It is easier, especially in the beginning, to work with contractors that know they are competing with like a million other contractors, and they will have to walk on their toes to keep earning their salary from you, because you could fire them instantly. That's why I prefer in the early stages of your business for you to work with contractors and not employees. All right. So very important. Now, a very interesting question. How do I hire the best person for the position? Whether this is a contractor or whether this is an employee. How do I make sure that I get the right fit? Okay. Well, we already spoke about the difference between a contractor and an employee. But the one thing that you really need to think about is that you need to be very, very clear about what you expect them to do. So the job description needs to be clear. Preferably, you already have a standard operating procedure in place. But too often when we hire someone, we are in over our head. So we're just happy to outsource it and for someone to take it over from us, right? I hear you. So one of the things then that new hires should do for you is write down all the steps in the way you want them to work with you. All right. And this is also mitigating a risk many coaches, consultants, agency owners feel when they have to hire someone, the risk that no one can do it like me. BS. Everyone can do it like you if you have a step-by-step manual that makes it dummy-proof to act and react in the way you do. So very important, make sure that it's crystal clear what they have to do, but also make sure to document the way you want them to do it, so you can actually feel like you can actually delegate and you are not always the one that should do it, because you are no longer the person that only can do it. And there's another thing. If you're hiring someone for a task that you are not loving, that is not your core expertise, that is not your main skill set, Very likely, especially when you hire contractors, the person you should hire should know more about what they're doing than you do. That's another reason for outsourcing. You get the best in their fields. You hire someone, if you're talking about outsourcing marketing, you hire someone who lives for marketing, who knows all about the best times to post, who knows all about the best things to say, who knows all about the hashtags, the interaction with clients, who can tell you how to actually make it work and attract clients for you. So that's another reason to outsource. You hire someone that is better for you. And again, make sure to document it so that you have everything on a step-by-step basis. Now, what do you do when you're not satisfied with the services? You may chuckle because you're like, what are we're talking about? We're talking about how do I set up the best team? And you're already talking about what if they don't, do what they need to do. All right, listen, I have seen too many coaches really screw this up, right? And it's to do with, our pleaser mentality, wanting to be nice, making sure that we, don't have to say nasty things. What I always recommend you do, whether it is a contractor or whether it's an employee, start working with a trial period. This can be a month, this can up to 3 months, but if it's a longer period, make sure to really put into place feedback moments where you can say, I saw you do that, I didn't like it, I want it this way. Or questions, why did you do it like this? Because in the standard operating procedure, it's written down that you should do it differently. Why the trial period, and why I would recommend to do it at least in 3 times? Because during the trial period, you have to put it in writing as well, in the contract you are concluding between the two of you, that if they are not complying with your level of service, or they're not complying with your expectations, you will have to let them go. No questions asked. That's why you work with a trial period. And the reason why you do it a bit longer than just a month is so that you actually get to see how they operate also once the newness has worn off, how good they are, how committed, how they're going to make it work no matter what. So that's really, really critical. Put in a trial period, because you are not going to be one of my clients that tell me, oh, I hired someone and they seem so promising, but now I work with them for a longer time, they're really dropping the ball and I don't know how to do it. Have the difficult conversation, but if it doesn't work, you have to let them go. That's why you put in a trial period, so you actually make it easier for yourself to let them go. Now, the final thing I want to share with you today, and I could talk about this for hours, but these are the highlights that I want you to incorporate in your mind when you're thinking about expanding your business. Because when you're expanding your business, you need to grow your team. You cannot continuously do everything by yourself. Now, here is the number one mistake I see so many coaches and so many business owners make, right? When you are about to hire someone, you will write down all the tasks they need to do. You will write down their job description, your expectations. You will write down, if you do it correctly, what you're expecting from them as output, KPIs, key performance indicators. If you're hiring someone for marketing, that we have been discussing, how many clients do you expect to come from that marketing? How many views? What's the increase in view percentage that you're expecting? Things like that. Put it to paper so that you actually feel like you're getting value for money. But there is a second thing you need to do, and this is the one thing almost everyone get wrong. If you are hiring someone, you have a certain way of working that you are expecting from them. And even if you tell me now, what are you talking about, Yvonne? I don't have a certain way of working. Yes, you do. because you operate in a certain way. You know how you like to work, right? For example, I'll take myself as example. I have these amazing ideas almost non-stop, right? Every day. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that. Oh, let's make a post about it. Oh, let's do this. What I love to do best is I take my idea, I share it with my team, and then I say, good luck. This is what I want. This is what I want it by. Surprise me, right? I am a big picture thinker. I'm not a nitty gritty detailed person. And I want my team to be a nitty gritty person. I also want my team, as you can hear by my example, to take the idea I have and to make it into a concept that is actually working. So they need to be self starting, they need to be independent, they need to give me feedback, and it needs to be in their culture and in their nature to tell me, I like your idea, but the way you are now suggesting it may not work if it doesn't work. I want someone who is with me, who tells me their ideas as well, who tells me we've been doing it for this a period of time in your suggested way. I have a better suggestion because based on my experience, this works better. That's why you hire experts so they can improve things. You need to be open to that. But to make sure you get the experts, you also need to ensure that you hire the people that will give you the feedback, that you hire the people that will tell you when things can go better. Now, I gave an example about how I like to work, but you need to decide how you like to work. And I have coaches that like to micromanage, they want to have everything done in a certain way. And they want to make sure that every step that is taken is done in that specific way. If not, they want to hear about it. Okay. That's more, in my view, towards, type managing, which is fine. If you want that, you need to hire the right person. If you don't want that, you need to hire someone else. So the number one mistake that you're going to avoid from now on is that if you hire a person, you not just describe what they're going to do, but you also describing how they are going to perform that task for you and what you are expecting from them and how they operate, how they behave. And very often, in my experience, the behavior they showcase is more important even than the skills, because skills can be learned, but behavior cannot change easily. I'm not saying it cannot change forever, because we all know it can, but it's not your job to have someone either on your payroll or in your team and having to make them change for you. That's you're not in that business. You're hiring them because you're expecting them to behave in a way. So when you are out there hiring a team member, make sure to list the way you want them to behave. Because if you can do that, and you are doing it at the right time, making sure that the way they need to operate is closed down in a standard operating procedure, you are giving them reason to be happy to work for you and maintain that happiness. You are making sure it's a good fit in all ways. And especially when you have more than one team member and more than just yourself, there needs to be a cultural fit from all sides. So your business culture needs to be embraced by every new person that you get on your team, right? So again, I can talk about that for hours as well. Not want to talk about it today, but make sure that you hire the right person. Make sure that you give them a trial period so it's easy to fire. Okay. They also say be slow to hire, quick to fire. And it is very true. Never ever forget, it is your business, your way, your rules. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. As you can hear, I'm quite passionate about it because I know if you want to make business growth easy, starting with a team is definitely in the books for you. All right. Or expanding your team if you already have a team. It's very often one of the first things we discuss when we go over where your company is right now. If you feel like, hey, let's talk more because I am ready to expand my business growth with at least 30 to 50% while working fewer hours, come speak with me, because we at Amazing Self Coaching guarantee that you get 30 to 50% more income while working with us in less than 6 months. I would love to hear from you. You can either reach out to me on this platform or send me an email at Yvonne@amaze-yourself.com, and we can see how we can grow your business by working smart, earning more, and living better. That was all I had for today. I love to see you next time, next place. And